Hello everyone, welcome to a video where I'm going to go over stock NURO, N-U-R-O, and the day trading opportunities that were available on today's run-up. And when we look at the chart to start, we see that this stock had a hell of a green day. 200% gainer. I mean, it was probably more than that when it goes from 4 to close around 10 and even goes up to 14 in the aftermarket hours. This stock had positive news, which I usually don't get into too much, but when it's a catalyst that can spike it, such as the Quell device received breakthrough designation from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for treating symptoms of fibromyalgia in adults. I mean, this is something that is still a penny stock that has not had a great chart history. As we can see in the last year, it actually is a gap up short strategy where it has a good breakthrough and then it finds resistance and it gets pushed down. So previously $5 was an area where it had a very difficult time breaking. But let's see how $5 came into play today, because just as much as the catalyst was for bulls, it could have promoted a short squeeze. So 1 day, 1 minute, we can see that pretty much the stock went up early with the news only at 9 a.m. So this was like very early, so it was almost projecting just this pump and dump because of how quick it was. However, when it continued to rise and hit that pre-market level, which ended up being around 4.4 and retraced, most people probably, I would have assumed too, that the bears were in control. Now, that's not always a bad thing for the bulls because it presents a support buying opportunity. Yet, I would have assumed the bears were in complete control, shorting the pre-market high. Even though in a 1 minute, this isn't it's a resistance, but you gotta give it time to really formulate. And after 9:30, it got some volume, but it was very bearish early. So, what was the changing factor? Well, the change occurred when it found a support right here, which was a little bit above the pre-market resistance, and sometimes a little buying caused a little squeeze, and right here the previous resistance at 4.4 became support, and that led to a massive run up. And so thinking, if I shorted here, where would my stop loss be? Well, it'd probably be around $5 a share, which means if I shorted here, I would have bought here. So this is just a lesson for the bears, which I like to sometimes short the penny stocks because a little news can promote a stock to go up and down quick, but also can promote a stock to go up and up and up. And so it continued up, so I'm just going through it a little bit. And now the bulls have taken control, so that would be where you can formulate a plan to go long on the stock, because honestly, when it's early like this, it's difficult because there's so many variables at stake, so many minor support resistance. When this is only a 50-cent channel, when in theory this stock went up $10 in a day. So I mean, a 50-cent channel is pretty insignificant. As a result, let's make a plan. So when it broke 4.4, we were saying the bears are in control, and it broke 5, which was the main resistance from previous. So I'm going to say I'm going to get at 4.5, testing the break. My price target isn't going to be 10 because that's a little extreme. Even though it did hit that, you got to assume that we're trying to take money and run. So I'm going to go for good $3 to $4 a share. Let's go with 3. But my stop loss, if I'm going long, let's say I'm going for 3, I think I might as well cut it after, and this one moved 50 cents down. I'm going to go with 70 cents down. So I'm going to go with 3.75. Nice 4.0 risk to return, $20,000 account. I can take a 533 share position size, risking my 2% of $400, in return potentially making $1,600. Not bad for the bulls. And honestly, this one playing out the way it did, let's see where you get in, 4.5. Not the first time because it was just short of that, but the next time after the confirmation that the support was the previous resistance at this line, so around here, is worth taking the chance. And you would stop out right below this 3.8 right there, and look, 7.5 hit within, obviously this is looking back on it, but next time you might realize by setup, not by as much looking at, oh my goodness, it's going down, up, down. Just the key level alone in this situation. In an hour, less than an hour, from 10:30, you just have to be patient for the double top breakout, and then you have to be patient for, let's say, 11 it is when you get in to 12. Wow, 1 hour, and you could have capitalized, and it would continue to go up. But I'm not one for getting much into these shorts. Well, I mean, you continue to pump up well. To continue to play just to see what people are doing. This is FOMO hours, which means after the morning moves have been made, people that got cut out for a loss or shorted early and want to remake money or try and make their small loss into a, or big loss into a smaller loss, they start shorting again, or people get a little crazy, let's say after 1:30. So I never try and touch the plays like in this area, because look, you go from 11 back to almost 9. So what do you think? It's going to continue to go down to 7? Well, no, it goes back up to 11. And now, as you can see, these aftermarket moves just get very confusing, because there's no real levels to indicate it, because the stock has never been to this level in the past year. And I'm sure previously that it's irrelevant even if it was up to those levels. But with a move like this, that's when you get into dangerous territory. So I would let it, just forget it and move on to the next play if you're looking at 1:30 to make the trade. But the best time was between, I would say, most predictable, when not this, because it was a little bit unpredictable if these resistances that somehow did not hold very well and support that did, but after 11 to 12. So what I recommend for everyone is, if you did make a trade, start looking at the time and when you were buying, selling, and what your plan was. So that way you can continue to improve. And the lesson is because every mistake or trade had an easier approach that was on you. So if you review the chart, or like what I did to review it, and then potentially notice what you can do in the future to make sure you capitalize on the setup, as I would if I were trying to go long, but also if I was trying to go short. Thank you for taking the time to understand, and I hope the best for you all going forward.